Hey guys, if you have not gotten in line and you want a cinnamon roll, go ahead and hop in line. We'll get started in just a second. You should have two things. You should have your senior checkout form and your graduation timeline. Okay, Dr. Hess has a couple extra over there. Please let us know if you need those. We're going to cover those real quick while you have your cinnamon rolls, and we'll get you out of here. Guys, Coach Sweetland has some extra timelines if you need an extra grad timeline.
Audio is more important. Audio is more important. Yeah.
All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and get started. Make sure that you have both of those papers handy. We're going to walk through those just real quickly while you're having breakfast this morning. And then we'll have time for questions or anything like that in just a second. All right, we're going to start on the back page of the timeline. You should see your graduation checklist.
It's on Google.
Go ahead and take a look at that. We're going to hit some of the highlights real quick together. And then we'll flip over, we'll go through the timeline, make sure that you understand what's what, when we're doing what. And please take, we don't like to waste a lot of paper, okay? But we made these so you guys can follow along as we're going through it, but it's also posted to your Google Classroom sites. Okay, make sure you share this stuff with your folks, okay? Because we have, okay. Your parents should have gotten an email as well, okay? So make sure that you go over all this stuff and communicate it. All right, so let's go through the checklist real quick. A couple things to highlight. I'm not going to insult you and read it all to you. Okay, you can go through most of this. A handful of you got an email from me on Friday. Still missing your 10 hours of community service. You got to have 8 for Tennessee Promise. So there's a strong possibility you have the bulk of those. You may need a couple more. You may have them done and you've forgotten to turn in your form. You may have all your hours done for NHS, but your NHS due date is different than the school district due date. Like, we get all that stuff. All right, we're not going to jam you up. Those are due April 1st. The reason we make them due April 1st is, well, between those of us, friends in this room, we know we got to chase you down. Okay, so we give you enough cushion so we can hunt you down and make sure that you get that stuff turned in. I know a ton of you went immediately to the counseling office and you got those filled out and you got them turned in on Friday. Good job. There are a handful of you that may need help finding some hours. That's also perfectly fine. All right, email me, come by and see your school counselor. We will set you up with community service hours. If you want to get them done, we will make sure that you have them done so that you can participate in graduation. All right, do not let that be a thing that prohibits you from walking. So if you need help with your hours, just let us know. Get those turned in, get the form signed, drop them off with your school counselor, or drop them off with Coach Egan right there in Student Affairs. After we're done this morning, there are some things hanging up behind Mr. Suttereth back there. Some honor cords, things that you can purchase for graduation. If you want to know if you qualify for those, look at the following bullets. Okay, that will explain it. Okay, what you get if you're graduating for distinction, if you're graduating with honors. Okay, those things are $10. We'd like for you to have those for graduation if you want to purchase them. Many of you will qualify for Ready Graduate, and we've talked about that each year, what that means, what you have to do to qualify. We buy those for you. So at Senior Awards, after awards, we'll ask all of you who have qualified for Tennessee Ready Graduate, we'll ask you to stand so we can honor you during the senior award ceremony. Then after the ceremony, we'll ask you to come up to the stage and we will distribute the maroon and gray cords to you. Okay, so those are on us. But if you want the white cords, silver cords, gold cords, they're all $10. But you can look through there, figure out what you qualify for. If you have any questions, please ask Ms. Farrell or Mr. Suttereth. They'll make sure that you understand what's available to you. There is a purchase link on GoFan. You should have seen it on your Google Classroom site, on social media this weekend. Okay, you can purchase those things through that purchase link, or you can buy them after. You can buy them up until graduation. So you don't have to do it today. Okay, we'll have those available in the counseling office. You can see Ms. White in the main office, and we'll get you squared away. It is time for us to start getting candidates and applicants for senior speeches. If you'll look at that bullet under order your 2024 tassel, that's for those of you who needed to borrow a gown. Maybe you weren't sure if you were going to walk, that type of thing. You have to order a tassel. So make sure that you order a tassel because they don't send us very many extra there. We try to order extra gowns every year just in case somebody needs to borrow one, just in case somebody in a hurry to get here on time, they forget their gown. It happens. Okay, we'll try to help you out and we'll make sure that you're covered. We don't have a lot of extra tassels. Okay, but right next to that, or under that, excuse me, if you are interested in giving a senior speech during graduation, tryouts will be this Friday. Okay, so there's a sign-up form. We will begin at 8:05. A handful of teachers and senior advisors will sit in on those. Okay, there's also a rubric posted so you know exactly what we're looking for or what we would like to see from you guys. But if you are interested in participating in graduation, please sign up for that. One of the big ones that we need from you guys is Senior Awards Recognition Form. That's also on your senior checkout. We'll go over that a little bit more in just a second. There's a deadline. It's April 30th. Okay, but we need that from you ASAP. that allows us to recognize you for all of your accomplishments. Guys, you get all kinds of scholarship offers, all kinds of letters, contacts. Those things don't always come through the school. So please understand that. We want to honor you. We want to honor the work that you've put in over the last 4 years. Some of those things we will not know. So we're asking you to brag on yourself. Make sure that you send that stuff in. And on that form, there's also a place where you need to make sure that you note where you need your final transcript sent. That is part of your senior checkout form. We need to know where to send your stuff. All right, then the last thing that I'm going to note on here is turn in your senior checkout form. That's the other page. Let's look at that real quick. This is the thing that communicates to us that you are eligible to walk in commencement. Most of you understand what that means. It means you got to have your 28 credits. You got to have everything signed, sealed, and delivered before May 10th. If we do not have signatures from your teachers saying that yes, without question, they have passed these classes, some of which may or may not be required for graduation, but we need to know 100% with 100% certainty that you have everything required so we can release your transcripts and report you as a graduate to the state of Tennessee. We have to have these things signed off on before you walk. It's not a fun thing, but it's a realistic part of what we do sometimes. Some of you are sitting in here and you need the 4 classes you were taking this spring. There may be a small percentage of you who are not currently passing some of those classes. If you are not in good standing by Friday, you do not walk. That's it. I cannot let you participate in graduation on the promise that you will pass that class. That's not how it works. The teacher has to verify that you will pass that class before you walk. If you're not in that situation, I'm sorry, but you'll spend the first couple weeks of summer with me, Mr. Deal, having a great time here, and you'll graduate in the summer. That's tough. That's tough for you guys. It's more painful for your families. Do not put yourself, do not put your families in that situation. Make sure that you are in a place where you can participate. It may not mean a whole lot to you, but I promise it means a ton to your parents, your grandparents, all of those people who want to be there to celebrate with you. So make sure you get that taken care of. At the top, you will see all of the fines and fees, the equipment stuff. We've got to make sure those things are accounted for and turned in before you can walk. Well, excuse me, not necessarily before you walk. Okay, I want to clarify. If you're in a situation where things are tight and you're having a hard time clearing some of this stuff up, if you've done the stuff in the classroom, we'll let you walk. We cannot release your transcripts, we cannot release your diploma until you settle your debts. It is no different than when you go to TCAT, University of Tennessee, whatever post-secondary place you go. Anywhere you go, you got to make sure all things are square before they will release your diploma and your transcripts. So you need to have these signatures, that you've got your Chromebooks turned in, that you have no outstanding fines or repairs there. If you're in a situation where you know that you do not need your Chromebook for class finals, I'd go ahead and start getting that stuff turned in, just at your convenience. Make sure Mr. Anderson gets it checked off. You need to check with Ms. Blair. We have a list. It's not a huge list, but we have a list of outstanding library fines, maybe some books that are out that you need to get turned in and get taken care of. Real quick, if you are a junior and you are graduating early, we don't have that list down here for juniors. Okay, so if you need to make sure that you're in good shape with Ms. Blair, swing by and talk to her, because she just printed the senior list for right now. Okay, so if you're a junior and you need to get that signature, don't check at the table today. We won't have it. You'll need to check with her. And then make sure that you have everything taken care of in the cafe. If you have any outstanding lunch fines, all of those things need to be paid before we can release your diploma and your transcripts. And then you'll go down to the bottom there. You can see where your teachers will verify what course and then they will sign that you have passed that course and you are in standing to pass that course before graduation. And then that next little notation, I have submitted my Senior Awards Recognition transcript form via Google Classroom. And then you'll just check yes. And then under that, you will note again, this is where I need my transcript sent. And you'll put the name of the college. You'll note if you need it sent to the NCAA Clearinghouse. You'll note if you are going straight into the workforce and your work needs those transcripts. Now that's part of it sometimes too. You apply for a job and they want your transcripts. Any questions about senior checkout form? This is due May 8th. Now flip back over to the front real quick and let's go through your graduation timeline. We've already talked about senior speeches for graduation, where you can sign up for those. We'll host auditions for those beginning on Friday. The last couple years, we've had enough students put in that we've had to split that up into a couple days. But if at all possible, we'll do that on Friday. Senior Awards recognition form is due the 30th. That is next Tuesday. We only have 15 school days until graduation. All right, so things are going to tick by pretty quick over the next couple weeks. So next Tuesday, your Senior Awards recognition form is due. You can find that on your Google Classroom site. The 5th of May, that is the Sunday prior to commencement, we will have baccalaureate services. Okay? Last year we moved them here. Okay? They're hosted by the Church of the Redeemer. You do not have to come. It is not mandatory. Okay? But we welcome you and your families to come. It is 6 p.m. here on Sunday, May 5th. If you want to participate in baccalaureate, we ask that seniors show up at 5:45 and wear your gowns. Don't bring your caps, don't bring your tassels. Okay, those tassels are notorious for falling off the caps and you lose them. But if you want to come and participate, we'll line up at 5:45. Everybody else goes in and has a seat, and then graduates walk in and are seated in kind of a place of honor and recognition. Right, senior class finals are Monday the 6th and Tuesday the 7th. On the 6th, you will have your class finals if you have courses during that time. Some of you have dual enrollment, all that good stuff. You'll have your class finals for second and fourth block, and then on Tuesday, you will have your first and third block course finals. On Wednesday the 8th, that gives you a day to come in, make up any outstanding work, and then that's your senior checkout day. You'll go around, you'll get all of your signatures, you'll make sure that you have all those things turned in. You'll try to get all of your debts paid and all your fines cleared up. On Thursday, that's senior celebration day, we have senior awards at 8:30 over at the stadium. If weather's bad, we'll move inside the competition gym, but hopefully we'll be out on the field. And then after senior awards, there's a senior luncheon at 11:30, and then you guys are dismissed unless you need to be here to do anything or take care of anything. And then, of course, on Friday, all right, this is the important stuff. We got senior breakfast at 8:30. Graduation practice is mandatory. All right, if you don't show up for graduation practice, we assume that you will not be walking. We'll have your names situated, where you're going to be seated, so you let your families know. It's important to us that we don't have to make any adjustments unless it's some kind of emergency, so that way you can communicate with your people where you'll be on the field, and so they know where they want to sit in the stadium. We'll have breakfast that morning. We will walk over to graduation practice. Okay, same thing, you'll bring your gown. Ladies, if you're going to wear something, I don't know, fancier, is that the right word? If you're going to wear something nicer, like footwear for graduation, my recommendation is bring it for practice. Right? Please don't wear like super tall, high heels. Okay, it's a little funky on the turf to walk in those. It's memorable if somebody falls in graduation, but you don't want to be that somebody. Okay, so please make sure that you wear something that's fairly comfortable and you feel comfortable walking up those stairs and across the stage. It's fairly stable, but there's a little wobble there. So my recommendation, if there's something special footwear-wise that you want to wear for practice, please bring it, but then bring something to change into. Because when we do the Walk of Fame, you will not want to wear those same shoes probably as you walk to the middle school, to the intermediate school, to the primary school, and then back here. That's a lot of walking. For graduation practice, you bring your gowns. No caps, no tassels. Okay, we don't want you to lose them. All right, we're almost done. After the graduation practice, that's when we do the Walk of Fame. At 6:30 that night, we meet up in here. We make sure that you got everything. Make sure you got your gowns, your caps, your tassels. We get lined up in the hallway, down the science hallway. We will make sure that you are in place where you're going to be seated on the field. And then we will start walking over right before 7:30. Okay, you can tell your families gates will open at the stadium at 6 p.m. So they'll be able to get into the stadium at 6 p.m. We do not set up the gymnasium and move inside if weather is bad. We really try to avoid that, because if we have to move inside, we can't fit everyone. And if we have to go that route, what ends up happening is that means we have to tell each one of you, well, you can only bring like two to four people. Okay, that's not a good situation. The crowds are just too big, and so we try to avoid that. So this is really important. Share these rain dates with your families. Last year we had some thunderstorms that came in right before commencement. Thankfully, we just had to roll it back like 25 minutes until the radar was clear. If it's like a light rain or a drizzle or something, as long as it's not lightning, there's a good chance that we go. All right, because we know a lot of you will have folks travel in from out of town. All right, we try not to push it back or delay it if at all possible. But if we have to, these would be the dates. If for some reason the weather is awful and just will not cooperate, then we'll roll it to Saturday morning at 10:30. If things are still garbage at Saturday morning and we have to push it back, then we go to 7:20, 7:30 on Saturday evening. And then worst case scenario, we would bump it to Sunday afternoon. So we have 3 rain dates and times in place that we will try absolutely as much as we can to prevent moving it indoors, so you guys can have everybody here. Make sense? Okay, and then after you guys get out of here, then we'll start mailing your final transcripts the May 20th. I know that's a lot. Any questions?
Hey, Dr. David, probably need to add one more thing that's not on there.
Yeah.
If you painted a parking spot, and we'll get some details to you, but I think it's fair to assume that they would also need to paint back over before May 8th.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you purchased a parking spot, part of the deal is we got to have you clear the canvas for the next class. So after you guys get through course finals, you'll have that next day up until graduation to come in and help take care of that. Okay? And then you'll check that off with Mr. Deal. There is a senior bulletin board, before I forget, Ms. Cedeno has created for you guys upstairs in the lounge. Dr. Hess, well, she said you did it. So, somebody did it. Dr. Hess did it. You guys can sign your name up there if you choose. So that's upstairs in the student lounge. Ms. Farrell?
I just have a couple of quick points to emphasize. So if you want to try out for a senior speech, you sign up to do that with me, and I'll get you a time, okay? So you can see me after this, you can email me, whatever. You can sign up with me to do a senior speech if you want to try out. The Senior Awards recognition form that's on Google Classroom already, online form, I have made, if you have questions about that, I've made a little video tutorial that I'll post on Google Classroom that you can watch. It's pretty self-explanatory, but sometimes students have questions about it. So if you do, you can utilize that video. And for the Senior Awards ceremony on Thursday before graduation, we really like for all students to come to that because we recognize you for all the things that you've done. Almost all of you are ready grads. All of you have done things that we want to recognize you for. So we encourage you to come to that. And we will also announce a lot of scholarship winners that day as well. So a lot of our local scholarship people present their awards on that day. So just so you know, if you're kind of debating on whether or not to come, we recognize like most of you for accomplishments during that time. And then Mr. Sudworth has a reminder about pictures for the slideshow.
Yes, so if you want to submit photos for the senior slideshow, I made an announcement on Google Classroom. Okay, that slideshow is played before you walk out for graduation there. So if you do not submit anything, right, obviously I can't get photos from you. The purpose of the slideshow is kind of to communicate like your unity as a class. That can be all the way from kindergarten through senior year. So just go onto Google Classroom and make sure that you submit those photos if you want them on the slideshow. I sent that notification to your parents, so you may see some embarrassing photos there as well. Yearbooks will be distributed on the last day for seniors. So if you early graduated, you are welcome to come and pick up your yearbook on that day, May the 3rd. And that is going to be at 2:15 over in the competition gym. And if it rains, it will be over here. So make sure you make plans to pick up your yearbook if you purchase one. There are about 10 left. So if you have not purchased a yearbook or you have a question about if you purchased one, send me a Google chat and I'll clarify. But the website to get that is www.yearbookordercenter.com, and you can order a yearbook that way. But we're distributing those on May the 3rd at 2:15-ish at the competition gym up the hill.
Two more things from me, sorry. I took pennant pictures, like, you know, in September and October when we were doing college application things. I took pennant pictures with, like, every one of you. So if you need to change your pennant picture, like if you changed your mind about where you're going or whatever, let me know and we can change it because I'll do a little slideshow with that. If you need to purchase a cord, an honors cord, you can do that now if you already paid or whatever. Make sure you come to the table up here with Mr. Egan, Miss White, and we can help you get situated with your payment and what cord you need. Okay? All right, go forth.